You're working in a place like this. Good thing we broke up, my ex-girlfriend said with a laugh. However, her smile was clearly forced. I wanted to ask about her expression and the bruise visible under her hat, but my ex wouldn't tell me anything. Still a loser, I see. Instead, she just kept talking and laughing, still with that fake smile on her face. As I was wondering what to do about my ex's behavior, that's when it happened. Oh my, you really don't know anything about him, do you? She must have been listening to the conversation while cooking. My childhood friend and partner, who had been listening while cooking, started telling my ex about me. That's not true at all. My ex was flustered. Right after that, something happened that we didn't expect. Nick Johnson, a 28-year-old man who runs a food truck selling boxed lunches. By the way, I don't run the food truck all by myself. Nick, I'm done prepping over here. Thanks, Emily. A woman the same age as me helps out. Thanks to her, I'm able to enjoy making the lunches. We usually operate the food truck on a certain university campus. Let's do it in front of the station at the park today. Agreed. It's a holiday today, so there'll probably be a lot of families. However, it's currently spring break season, so there aren't many students coming to the university. That's why we're operating in a different location. Around this time of year, we often operate in parks where a lot of people, especially families, come to play. In addition to us, there are also food trucks selling fried chicken, bubble tea, and more. Looks like it's gonna be busy today. Yeah, let's do our best. Since today is Saturday, there are even more customers buying our lunches than usual. One serving, please. Yes, coming right up. For example, a small child with sparkling eyes comes to buy a lunch with their allowance, probably given to them by their parents. Upon receiving the lunch, they carefully hold it so as not to drop it and run back to their parents. And then there are others. Hey, which one do you want, wheat? I'm torn between this one and that one. Then I'll buy this one and you get the other. That way we can trade and eat both. Okay. A high school-aged couple discussing and deciding on their lunches together. It's somehow heartwarming to see them happily eating together on a bench. They all look delicious, don't they? They sure do. Which one do you want? This one. A child and their mother, smiling and giggling as they pick out a lunch. Many customers buy our takeout lunches. It's a bit busy, but seeing everyone's smiling faces as they eat the lunches is healing. They all look like they're having fun. Watching the kids happily running around the park, I'm reminded of my own past. I was born and raised in a very ordinary family, just like the kids I can see from inside the food truck. Hey, Nick, don't go too far. Okay, there was a big bug over there. Oh my, Nick, you're such a rascal. I was a kid who'd have my parents take me to the park, where I'd run around chasing balls and bugs. My parents watched over me with a smile. They were the kind of people who weren't too lenient or too strict, and let me do what I wanted. Nick, over here, coming. I was blessed with friends too, and lived happy days. Raised in an environment with a good balance of freedom and restraint, I had a happy life with no complaints, nothing special. However, during the period between elementary and middle school, that happiness fell apart. What? Mom has cancer. Dad worked at a regular company, and Mom ran her own eatery, but suddenly, she was diagnosed with cancer. Mom's gonna get better soon, right? Yeah, I'm sure. She'll be back to making lunches in no time. Contrary to our wishes, she passed away in the blink of an eye. We lost a precious person. Yeah, it's sad to think we won't be able to eat her food anymore. Not only me and Dad, and our relatives, but also the regulars at the eatery shed tears over Mom's sudden death. We won't be able to eat that exquisite burrito anymore. The burrito, which I loved since I was little, was also the eatery's main dish, and there were many who loved its taste. However, only Mom knew the recipe. With Mom's passing, that recipe was lost. We can't make that flavor without the recipe. So this is the end for the eatery. As a result, Dad decided to close down the shop. The eatery closed, with many people sad to see it go. Nick, I'll leave your lunch here. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Eventually, I became a high school student. At my high school, lunch was a choice between a boxed lunch or the cafeteria. You don't have to get up so early every day. There's always the cafeteria. Don't say that. Besides, the cafeteria is expensive. Saying that, Dad made me lunch every day. Even though he had work early every morning, Dad never failed to make lunch. That said, the lunches Dad made weren't fancy, but had a very manly, rugged feel. Nick's lunches really have that made by a man vibe, don't they? I won't deny it, but this is plenty for me. Compared to my lunches, the other students' lunches were more elegant. Not just in taste, but colorful too. However, I didn't feel envious of them. The lunches Dad made may have been rough, but I could feel the definite love of a parent in them. That's the kind of lunch they were. I like you, Thompson. Please go out with me. Yes, I'd love to. At one point in my second year of high school, I got a girlfriend. Her name was Sarah Thompson. She was a cheerful and lively girl, the complete opposite of me, who was more on the quiet side. Attracted to her brightness that I didn't have, I confessed to her, ready to be shot down. As a result, she said yes. Hey, Nick, is it true you're dating this Sarah Thompson? Huh? Oh, yeah, it's true. For real? That's kinda unexpected. Since Sarah was popular, the rumor that we were dating spread in an instant. Many were surprised at the unexpected combination of me and Sarah. Well, you did say you liked her, so good for you. If it's Nick, he seems like he'd cherish her, so you might unexpectedly be a good match. However, everyone congratulated us, especially my childhood friend, Emily Davis. I can't believe someone like Nick got a girlfriend, she said, saying something rude while being moved. Then, half a year after we started dating, your lunches are always kinda similar. Do you make them yourself? Sarah asked me that while looking at my lunch. I immediately denied it to her. They're handmade by my dad. I can cook. I told her up front that I was bad at cooking, and that it was my dad's cooking. Then, she said in a somewhat cold tone, even so, your lunches always look so delicious, Sarah. I do put some effort into them. I make them all myself. What? Really? That's amazing, Sarah. A little while after that, it was time to decide our future paths. Nick, what you gonna do after graduating high school? Well, I'm thinking about something. I decided to get a job instead of going to college. The reason was simple and clear. I didn't want to burden my dad any further. What? During lunch break, sitting on a bench in the school, I talked to Sarah about my future plans, just the two of us. When I did, her eyes widened in surprise. Wondering why she was so surprised, I looked at Sarah's face and saw that she had an expression of displeasure I'd never seen before. Sarah, what's wrong? This is the worst. In response to me, who asked out of concern, she said that in a cold voice. So Nick, you're gonna be a high school graduate. That really sucks. Her voice was lower than I'd ever heard, and I was so baffled I couldn't say anything. Sarah glared at me like that. Annoying. I thought you seemed serious so you'd go to college, and I was dating you with expectations for the future. Can I have my time back? This is seriously the worst. Sarah, calm down a bit. Sarah suddenly started flipping out like that. All I could do was be flustered. You're not going to college. You can't even cook. What a loser. Let's break up. Get out of my sight. Sarah spat that out and quickly left. I could only be stunned, unable to stop her or say anything. After that, no matter how many messages I sent, I was ignored. She probably blocked me. I guess this is the end. I didn't have the courage to talk to her directly, and our relationship ended ambiguously. After that, nothing happened and we graduated. I ended up remembering something unpleasant. Muttering that with a laugh, I continued serving customers. Around lunchtime, the line becomes insanely long, so I don't even have a moment to catch my breath. Welcome, thank you for waiting. May I take your order? With great effort, I greet the customer at the very back of the line. The customer is a young woman with a baby strapped to her back. Also, next to her stands one small child. 3 of the A sets. The woman orders in a small voice. She places $40 on the tray, and I hand her the $4 change. At that moment, I notice bruises and what look like burn marks on her arms. She's wearing a hat, so it's hard to see, but when she happened to look up, I saw that she also had a bruise on her cheek. Inwardly worried if she's okay, I observe her to an extent that is intrude. As I did, I somehow felt like I knew this woman. It bothered me, so I froze a bit in the pose of handing her the change. The woman called out to me, looking puzzled. In that instant, I realized who this woman was. No matter how you looked at her, this woman was Sarah Thompson. Sorry if I'm wrong. Aren't you Sarah Thompson? Huh? The woman stares at me intently at my words. Are you, Nick? And her eyes widened in surprise. However, she immediately became wary of her surroundings and shrunk back. I found that reaction somehow suspicious. Can I have a moment? I have something cooking. Oh, sure. Part of the lunch set is still cooking, so it'll take a little time. I left the cooking to the woman helping me and decided to talk to Sarah in the meantime. It's a bit awkward after the way we broke up. Huh? You're working in a place like this. Good thing we broke up. As I was wondering what to talk about, she said with a clearly fake smile. Sarah, what happened to those injuries on your arms and face? Ignoring her provocation, I asked Sarah that. Then, she made a sullen face. Don't stick your nose in other people's business. More importantly, Nick, you're leaving the cooking entirely to that woman. Oh right, you can't even cook, can you? Still a loser, I see. She said that with a laugh, but it still only looked like a fake smile. Sarah, listen to me. It might be presumptuous, but I'm saying this because I'm worried about you. I have nothing to say to a bottom-feeding high school graduate like you. I try to reason with her somehow, but she rejects me. As I was wondering what to do about her behavior. Oh my, you really don't know anything about him at all, do you? The woman cooking seemed to have been listening, and said in an irritated tone. Huh? Then Sarah glared at her with a displeased look. Sorry for the wait. Here are your 3 sets. In response, the woman packaged the lunches and handed them over while taking off her mask. The moment she did, Sarah's eyes widened. Emily Davis. That's right, the one helping with my food truck was my childhood friend Emily. Huh? So even you're stuck in a dead-end job with Nick. You two doing okay? Yes, thanks to him. Unlike you, who threw away a good partner like Nick. What a waste, huh? Emily retorts right back at the laughing Sarah. Sarah makes an unpleasant face at that. A good partner, even though he's just a high school graduate with a food truck. And Sarah provokes back with that. That's right, Sarah. Thanks to that, I'm really happy now. Right, Nick? Well, Emily, not seeming to mind at all, leans on my shoulder while laughing. That makes me feel embarrassed, so I give a vague reply. Why are you happy with a high school graduate like him? Sarah said strongly to us in an irritated tone. However, as if regretting it, she immediately becomes wary of her surroundings again. Seems like you want to know, so why don't you tell her about what happened after that? Emily says that to me. Actually, after you dumped me, I take a deep breath and begin to explain. After being unilaterally dumped by Sarah, I was down for a while. Sigh. I ate my lunch alone in the corner of the classroom. The same old colorless lunch as always. I began silently eating that lunch. Huh? Emily. Then Emily appeared and sat next to me without a word. Feeling curious, I stared at Emily, and she suddenly smiled. Your dad still hasn't given up. He's still doing his best. And she said that while looking at my lunch. Yeah. He's still somehow trying to recreate mom's flavor every day. My dad's colorless homemade lunches were burrito every other day. This isn't it either. After mom passed away, dad had been running around trying to recreate her flavor while working as a regular salaryman. It's almost always burrito, but the flavor is different each day so it doesn't get old. Today it's kinda salty. The burrito that day tasted a bit too salty. The conversation doesn't continue, and I quickly look down. You broke up with Sarah, right? Emily said to me in a small voice. I confirmed that. Then, Emily takes out her cell phone and fiddles with it. Take a look at your phone. After a while, she prompts me to, so I open my phone. There was one message from Emily. Then, starting today, I'm your girlfriend. That's what the message said. I look at Emily in surprise, and she has a full smile on her face, though embarrassed. Until then, I had thought of Emily as just a childhood friend. When I actually became conscious of her as a woman, it made me really embarrassed. So in response to the message, I just sent a thumbs up stamp. Let's keep getting along from now on, Nick. Emily puffs out her cheeks a little at my cold response, but says that and helps herself to a bite of my burrito. Today was tiring too. Good work, Nick. After graduating high school, I got an office job. Emily works at a different company too. I'm home. Excuse me. When work is over, Emily comes home to my place with me. Since we're childhood friends, our relationship has become publicly recognized. Welcome back, you two. So Emily has practically become a member of the Johnson family, making us essentially a family of 3. Well then, shall we try making it again today? In the Johnson household, research was being conducted with the aim of reviving the burrito that everyone loved. We'd research this way and that. As we did, we started to become able to cook. Maybe I should get certified like this. There's something I want to try doing. Oh really? Then I'll help out too. And at 21, I took classes and got certified as a food safety supervisor. I passed the health department's various inspections, quit my office job, and opened a food truck. Emily also quit the job she was doing, became staff for the food truck with me, and that's how we're working together. It's terrible, Nick. Your dad, what? When Emily and I were 25, my dad collapsed. The cause was a cerebral infarction, and as if chasing after my mother, his wife, he passed away suddenly. He went pretty quickly. Yeah. I'm thinking once we sort through his belongings, we should sell the family home too. Emily and I split up to sort through my dad's belongings and decided to sell the family home while we were at it. In the middle of that, what's this? While sorting through the family home, I discovered a single notebook. Could that be? Yeah, it's Mom's recipes. What was written in that notebook were recipes from the eatery my mom used to run. Looking at it again, a huge number of menu items were written there. This is the burrito recipe. Among them, I found the recipe for the #1 popular dish, the burrito. However, that recipe was almost the same as the one the 3 of us, me, Emily, and Dad, had arrived at through our research. After years of effort, we had gotten close to Mom's flavor without realizing it. We ended up with Mom's flavor without noticing. Finding it at this timing might be fate, you know. Why don't we make this our selling point? Good idea. This burrito will be our signature dish. Happy about that, we decided to heavily promote the burrito on our food truck's menu. Then it started trending on social media and spread in no time. We usually operate on a university campus, so even people who know about us can't always buy from us. So we decided to sell our takeout lunches by online reservation. The hype kept building, and as a result, Emily's and my shop is now super famous. No way. No way. Hearing about my past, Sarah trembled as she said that. What's taking you so long? Then, a delinquent-looking man appeared. Sarah's body shook with a start. Hey Sarah, what are you blabbering on about? From her reaction, it seemed the one she'd been wary of all this time was this man. Sarah, who is he? He's my husband, Sarah said in a small voice, sounding scared. He was wearing sunglasses and smoking. Excuse me, smoking is prohibited in the park. Seeing that, I instinctively warned him. Then, he snapped back. It's got nothing to do with you. The man seemed irritated that Sarah wasn't coming back at all. But it's the park rules. Even when I said that, the man kept smoking. Not only that, he even started kicking the signs and truck. Sarah and her children looked frightened of him. I see, so that's what's going on. I instantly guessed the reason for the injuries on Sarah's arms and face. Please stop. Shut up. After that, we repeated a pointless exchange for a while, somehow buying time. Eventually, the police I was aiming for arrived on the scene. Actually, when the fight started, there was a man watching the tragedy unfold from behind the food truck. When I signaled to him with my eyes, he nodded and called somewhere. That call was to 911, which is why the police came rushing over. We received a report that someone was kicking a food truck. I didn't kick it. I didn't do anything. When confronted by the police, the man immediately denied it. You don't have any proof anyway. We do have proof. And if you look at this, you'll understand. I said that to the police and took out a camera from above the order window. When we first opened the food truck, there were issues like not having enough change, or Emily being unnecessarily groped. Back then we had no choice but to swallow our complaints due to lack of evidence, but to prevent that from happening again, we had installed cameras. Shut up. Who do you think you are? The footage clearly recorded the man's outrageous behavior as he shouted things like that. As a result, the man was taken in for voluntary questioning. I'm gonna go now. Having seen that through, Sarah said in a weak voice. Wait, Sarah. Contact me if you're in trouble. Also, there's still something I want to talk to you about. Saying that, I handed her my business card. Then, she took it looking apologetic, smiled for just a moment, and left holding her child's hand. Seems like she's been through a lot. Yeah, I hope I can help her out somehow. As I muttered that, Emily gave a wry smile. I was attracted to that kind side of you, Nick, but you're too nice for your own good. You think? I do. While smiling wryly at Emily's words, I watched Sarah walking away. When the child pulled on her hand, he said something. At that, Sarah embraced the child with tears in her eyes. I want to do it for that child's sake too. You're right. Those kids are innocent in all this. We talked about that while watching Sarah and the others. That must have been rough. Are you all right? Oh, yes. Thank you for calling them. Really, thank you so much. After the police left, the man who reported the incident spoke to us. Emily and I thanked him. Not at all. I'm a fan of your food, so please keep making delicious burrito. When the man said that, the people who had been watching from a distance also called out to us one after another. Everyone said things like that was rough. Huh, your lunches were delicious. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. No, thank you for your continued support. We nodded with a smile at their words. And to meet their expectations, we got to work preparing the best burrito lunches. Hello, it's Sarah. A few days later, I got a call from Sarah. Her voice sounded calmer than when we met again. I'm sorry for the awful things I said the other day. And for what I did in high school too. I'm really sorry. Sarah seemed to be doing a bit better, and started by formally apologizing like that. Then she began to talk about back then. At that time, I was brimming with confidence. The reason she said such terrible things and dumped me back then was because she had that confidence, it seems. I thought, I'm this amazing. So a man who can't at least graduate college and get a decent job isn't good enough for me. In reality, just like her lunches, her cooking skills were amazing. Plus she was good at studying and beautiful too. That's probably why it led to her being conceited. Well, you could call it youthful indiscretion. I'm not bothered by it anymore either. After listening to her story, I decided to forgive Sarah. After that, we reminisced a little about our time dating. By the way, what did you want to talk to me about? Then Sarah asked me that. Oh, right. Actually, I told her there was something I wanted to ask of her. Huh? You want me to do it? I want to ask you because it's you, Sarah. She asked again, sounding unsure. I nodded firmly to that. Pardon the intrusion. I've been waiting for you, Sarah. A few days later, Sarah came to Emily's and my home. I was the one who called her over. Come in, Sarah. Thanks for coming today. Emily, I'm sorry about the other day. Don't worry about it. I provoked you quite a bit too. Emily welcomed Sarah along with me. The two smiled at each other, having made up. Well then, shall we get started? After that, the three of us stood together in the kitchen. I then sent her the PDF by message. It was the recipe for our main product, the burrito. Today, we're gonna have you properly memorize the recipe. Yes, please teach me well. We decided to teach it to Sarah and have her join us as a fellow employee. Even if it was for a short time, I was Sarah's boyfriend, so I knew better than anyone how good she was at cooking. Actually, with our sales growing, we were considering opening not a second store, but a second truck. We were looking for someone who could cook to ride in that second truck. Would you become that cook? That's what I talked to her about and asked her to do when Sarah called me. You helped me out, so if that's enough to atone. And she accepted, which is why she came over today. By the way, when she says I helped her out, it seems to mean freeing her from her husband. That man, he was violent with me and the kids. He was violent towards Sarah and the children. When things didn't go his way, he'd go on a rampage, resulting in Sarah getting bruises and cigarette burns. That husband was arrested over the incident the other day. Furthermore, It seems he was sent to prison after Sarah went to the hospital, got a medical certificate, and filed a damage report. Right now, I'm in the middle of consulting a lawyer about the divorce. I see. You seem kinda happy. Yes. I'm happy that the divorce looks likely, but I'm happy that I can separate the children from that father. Saying that, Sarah showed an expression of being truly happy. Of those children, the baby will go to daycare, and the older brother will start elementary school once spring break is over. I'm glad the kids seem to be doing well. I'm adjusting the work schedule in consideration of the fact that Sarah is a mother of 2. All right, perfect. I can leave it to you at this rate. I'll leave the second truck to you. Sure, leave it to me. And so, a second truck was born for our food truck business. We hired one more woman and decided to leave the second truck to Sarah and that person. Looks like it's going well. Yes, it's going great. Freed from her husband, Sarah became her true self again. Thanks to that, she's increasing sales by making use of her innate cooking skills and intelligence. And in less than 6 months, she's almost caught up to the first trick's sales. Looks like we can't lose to them either. That's right. Shall we come up with a new product? We felt a happy sense of crisis. And we devoted ourselves to developing new products and improving the burrito day and night. I'm nervous after all. One night, I was nervous even though I was at home after work. What are you nervous about? Whoa, that was close. I stood in front of Emily while being careful not to drop the small box I was hiding behind my back. What's wrong? I got down on one knee in front of her as she tilted her head. I actually wanted to do this at a restaurant with a night view or something, but haha. Prefacing with that, I looked up at her with a serious expression. Emily, let's get married. And I proposed. Emily made a blank face at that. You idiot, Nick. You're 10 years too late. Eventually, she laughed with tears in her eyes and teased me like that. 10 years, aren't we still in high school then? I instinctively responded to her words. After that, Emily agreed to marry me. I'll make you happy to make up for making you wait. Please do. Emily and I laughed together. Just that made me firmly believe, without basis, that the future ahead would be bright. Hey, they said they want to feature us on TV next time. Really? That's a blessing. So shall we accept? Let's let even more people know about the burrito, which is a memento of my mother and the fruit of my dad's, Emily's, and my labor. And I vowed to live happily together with Emily from now on. A few years later, Emily and I are still selling lunches from our food truck as always. What's different from before is, Daddy, Mommy, I want to help too. Is that so? Then could you hand out the lunches together with Mommy? Yeah. One person joined our food truck. He gets along well with Sarah's kids too, and is eager to help out, saying he'll take over each of the food trucks when he grows up. You know, the burrito is my favorite. Yeah, it's Daddy and the others' favorite too. This burrito was made by Grandma, and Mommy and the others worked really hard with Grandpa to make it. Let's make it together when you grow up, okay? Okay. Our cute child who cheerfully nods at Emily's words. I vowed in my heart to always protect the smiles of these two.